Hi, welcome back to Burning River Bushcraft. We're going to use this slingshot jig that we made in another video, and today we're going to tie up some bands. So today we're going to focus on tubular bands as opposed to flat bands. Flat bands are usually more high performance, but I get a lot more life out of tubular bands, so that's what I've been using the most of lately. So this is 10 foot of tubing that I bought at Lowe's. This is in the plumbing department, so this is 3/8 OD, 1/4 inch ID latex tubing. So this is a nice medium weight band set. Super durable. This is my go-to bands for normal slingshot use. So for a more high performance hunting slingshot, this is 7/16 OD, 1/4 inch ID rubber tubing. I bought this on Amazon. That thicker wall that I have as opposed to the standard bands gives me more speed and more power, but it has a lot more weight to it. So this is not something I use in a regular slingshot. So here's a modification I did to the slingshot band jig, is I just took a yardstick and a Sharpie and gave myself inch marks. Now that's the advantage to tying your own bands, is you get to customize it to your draw and to your specifications by using different material. So my go-to is about a 9-inch band. So I have my two 9-inch pieces. Now I've established that length through trial and error with myself at my draw. So that's something you're going to have to work on. It's best to cut them a little bit long and shorten them up to get the performance you're after. But in this situation, we're going to be tying a band set that's a replacement for a factory slingshot. So in this case, I have my factory pouch, and I also have these little plastic tabs. So with these tabs, there's going to be no knots, no slingshot jig required. So we're going to be using rubbing alcohol. What that does is lubricates the rubber and lets you slide it over the plastic tubing. And it's that simple. You know, you're not going to get this on as easy if this is not lubricated. Spit would work also. Alcohol is a big improvement. Alright, so if this is put on a slingshot right now and you try to pull it back, you're going to slap yourself in the face. This has to dry. You know, maybe 3-4 hours is pretty good. 12 hours is a hell of a lot better. But this is a real quick replacement for factory bands where your pouch is still good, your plastic tabs are still good, and your rubber just broke through. So now I'm going to show you how to use the slingshot jig to tie a band set up. So again, I want a 9-inch completed slingshot band. So this is cut 11 inches. So I give myself an inch on either side that's going to be cut off as excess. Now the pouch I'm using, this is a store-bought pouch from Simple Shooting Sports. This is like kangaroo leather, and they're like $1. So it's a pretty inexpensive way to do this. They're all exactly the same. And if you have a couple of these, you can use them for patterns to cut your own pouches if you run out. So the first step is going to be to insert the rubber into the pouch. Now the leather has a rough side and a finished side. I'm going to have the rough side at the ball, so I'm going to turn and tie it with the excess on the outside. So it's going to sit this way into the frame. So again, my tail is going to be on the outside, not the inside. Okay, I'm going to grab a bite of the tubing. I'm going to get the pouch. And then that's going to stretch it out for me. Now you want to use a pretty fine string to hold this in. Inner strands of paracord would probably work pretty well. If you break down bank line, that'll work pretty well. I'm going to be using artificial sinew on this, but I'm going to show you the knot with a piece of orange paracord so you can see it. So we're going to use a constrictor knot on this. Okay, so here's an over the shoulder view of the constrictor knot. I'm going to cross over, make an X like it is a clove hitch, come under and pull it tight. Okay, so that's the knot you're looking for. I'm going to repeat this with artificial sinew, and then that's going to be my knot for good. Okay, so here you see it's going to be a lot harder to see with artificial sinew. I'm going to cross over. And come up. Now I'm going to work this to the edge of the pouch. Pull it tight. There we go. Then I'm going to cut off the excess. Okay, so here's my second tube. You know, make sure your ends are folded out the same direction. You can get a bite of it. Now I have to fold this in a little bit just to give me the right length. So it'll depend on your pouch and your jig on how much you have to fold that. There we go. So now I'm going to get a piece of artificial sinew, you know, about a foot long or so. I'm going to go ahead and first get my constrictor knot tied. Then I'm going to dress the knot and move it up right by the end of the pouch. Okay, I'm going to cut off my tail. Alright, so now this little tail here, I'm going to go ahead and cut off. I'm going to leave just a little bit on it. I'm not trying to cut it too close to the string. Okay. Now because we were just clamping this and stretching the latex out, the bands could have changed length. So I'm going to fold my pouch in half, exactly in half. I'm going to bring these up together and you see one band is just a little bit longer than the other. So I'm going to hold this mark even. Make an even cut. And now, unlike the factory tabbed band set that was used with alcohol, this set's ready to go right now. So what we're going to do next is we're going to reuse a tied-in pouch from a damaged band set. Now it's important to keep in mind that you have to match the band weight to the ammo you're using. So this little slingshot here is actually designed to shoot BBs. So it has way less power than a normal slingshot. And when you set this up with flat bands, these are extremely thin. So I think I've repaired these maybe 3 times already. I've just kept shortening them up and I've tore through and I'm kind of out of bands. So I'm going to make a tubular set of bands for BBs. So to switch these up from flat bands, I actually ordered some tubing off Amazon. This is 1/8 inch OD by 1/16 inch ID. So this is tiny stuff. So the first thing I'm going to do is cut my pouch free. Now this style of tubing is usually referred to as Chinese tubes. They run these as doubles quite a bit. In this situation I'm going to be running a single band. So I'm going to cut these again at 11 inches. I want the same draw that I have with my normal tubes. Okay, so it's going to be the same process. I'm going to capture this tube with a clamp. So while I was editing the slingshot band video, I had to cut a lot of footage out due to high wind noise. I knew it was bad out. I didn't realize it was that bad out. The ending was a complete wash, so I'm out here shooting it again today. I showed 4 types of band sets. I showed how to use the jig. I showed the constrictor knot. I showed 3 different pouch attachments. So get yourself your jig, get some rubber, and practice tying up some bands. You know, it's an inexpensive hobby, it's a lot of fun, kids love it, and it'll make you more self-reliant. This is Jamie Boggs with Burning River Bushcraft. See you next time.